Hi, this is Mike Bloom, Modern Languages Communications Director, and today I'm talking to Monica Sigo, Professor of Italian Studies at the College of William & Mary. Monica joined the faculty in the fall of 2014, and today we'll talk to her about her research and a couple of interesting courses she's teaching this year.
All right, so let me find out a little bit about where it is that you're coming from. You're a new faculty member here at William & Mary, so where are you coming from? What's your background?
Yeah, so I just arrived in August. This is my first semester here at the college. Before coming here, I taught at the University of Oklahoma in Norman, Oklahoma for 4 years. And before that, I was in Wisconsin, which is where I did my graduate work. But originally, I'm from Northern California, so I've been exploring North America.
So you've been moving east. Well,
yes.
Sort of.
Yes, zigzag east, yes. Yeah.
Right. And so now, what's your research interests?
My research in general, so I look at 20th and 21st century Italian literature and film. That's my general area. And I'm really interested in ecocriticism in particular, so representations of the environment, environmental change, landscape. That's really been my primary area of focus for the past few years. But more broadly, I'm interested in questions of community and representation.
Now, is that what your dissertation topic was?
Yeah, my dissertation topic looked at post-industrial landscape representation in literature and film from the late 1950s until today.
Huh. Can you give me an example?
Yeah, so I worked, so it's very, I'll say right now that my original dissertation, I've spent the past 4 years reworking as a book, and it will be coming out in January of this coming year. So in the book, one of the authors I work on, who's perhaps most well known, is Italo Calvino. If anybody knows contemporary Italian literature, that's one name they might know. And I look at two of Calvino's novellas from the late 1950s, dealing with a changing industrial culture. One of the texts is called Smog and deals with smog.
Huh.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Well, what gets you excited about it?
Yeah, well, so it's something that I fell into in graduate school because I noticed in my interpretation of texts, whether literary or cinematic texts, in that process I was always drawn towards the representations of the natural environment, the interactions between nature and culture, how those were manifested in creative texts. And the more I delved into that area of focus, also through critical readings coming out of the environmental humanities and ecocriticism, I started thinking more and more about environmental change as really being one of the most pressing issues of our world today. It's a reality in which we all live, but that is still very uncertain. We don't know where the future of the environment is going. And so I think it's really interesting to me to see how people cope with their lived existence through creative representation. So how do we make sense of the lived world? In particular, how do we make sense of a changing environment by way of these creative processes?
Very interesting. I guess it's kind of suitable that
I mean, yeah, this is
in this backdrop.
This is a great backdrop.
As we're
like
talking,
it's good. Yeah. Good work.
So what courses are you teaching this semester and this year?
Yeah, this semester I'm teaching two really different courses, which I love. It's a great introduction to the college. I'm teaching Italian 201, which is the third semester language course in the sequence. And then I'm teaching a topics course, a 300-level topics course taught in English, looking at the idea of a sense of place in contemporary Italian, primarily literature, but we've looked at a few films as well. So we're discussing questions of national identity, relationship to place, relationship to community. A big question that has surfaced with the students this semester is, what does it mean to be Italian? How is that defined?
Right. Oh, that's a really interesting question because, I mean, to be Italian, is there a sense of national identity in Italy? It seems like a very fractured.
It is. It's a fraught question, and it's been a huge question in Italian studies for so many years because Italy is so diverse. Unification of the country came relatively late in 1871. It didn't become a democratic republic until 1946. So there are ways in which Italy is very, very old. We think of Dante, we think of all of these great cultural traditions, yet at the same time very new. and home to so many distinct regional cultures and even regional languages or dialects. So it's a really valid question. Is there an Italian national identity? On one hand, no. On one hand, absolutely yes. People are so proud to be Italian, and there has been a very conscious cultivation of Italianness. So it's a point of conflict. It's a strong tension, especially in today's Italy, in which we really see a changing face of the Italian identity and experience due to immigration since the late 1970s on.
So that seems like a really interesting course to bring your own interests, your own research interests into.
Yeah.
Right, and are the students, do you think the students are going to be excited about studying sort of the eco?
I think so. So in this course we've looked at landscape quite a bit, and we've looked at place. And so I have brought in some of the critical texts that I use in my own research, and then paired those with other texts dealing with national identity. And it's been really fruitful, I think. I hope the students feel that way as well, but they've really engaged with those questions.
Great. Are you working on any interesting courses for next semester?
Yeah, I'm really excited for next semester. I'll be teaching 2 topics courses. The course in English is looking at women's writing in Italy in conjunction with the development of the Italian women's movement. And we're considering representations of self in society. I'm very excited for that course, and that should be a nice diverse group of students coming from multiple programs, so that's fun. And then the course in Italian is also very exciting, I think. It's looking at experimentalisms and avant-gardes in Italy's 20th century. And we'll focus on literary texts, but we'll also think about culinary culture, we'll think about music, we'll look at visual art, starting with the historic avant-garde, so the futurist movement, and moving forward.
Right. Wow, that sounds great. One of the fun questions that I like to ask at the end is if you've got a text or a film that you could suggest to lay people who might be coming to the topic that you're interested in, to give them a better idea of why you're excited about the topic. So is there something that somebody who's not really in Italian studies and current with Italian studies, is there a film they could watch or a book that they could read?
Yeah, so I'll again go back to Calvino, who is one of the most well-known 20th century Italian authors because of his accessibility. And so I would say that Calvino's Marcovaldo, which is, in English the subtitle is Seasons in the City. That's a nice literary text to get into. And in terms of cinema, there are many directions to go. I'm a big fan of Pasolini. So one might think of his film Theorem or Teorema. Or more recently, there's a film that's made the rounds by Michelangelo Framartino called The Four Times, or Le Quattro Volte. It's a really lovely film that I would recommend.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much.
I want to thank Monica Seger for talking to us today about her research and teaching, and thank you for listening. Until next time, this is Mike Bloom for Global Voices Journal.